Hey everybody, welcome to the 1804 show, chapter 2. I'm your host, Another Will, and this is 1804 History. And I wanted to thank everybody for showing me love and all your um, support, appreciation, all that. Yeah, I had to, look good. You know what I'm saying? This is the last night of Black History Month. So I wanted to, talk about this story tonight and just bring y'all to this hidden history right here because I feel like it's my responsibility to educate my folks on America's darkest histories that we have, and it's just really important that we get these stories out because a lot of people don't know this stuff. Even the people that was born in that area and people that was um, attending college and going to school there and just living there today don't even know about this story. But I will tell you, it's one of those stories that just so fucked up because us as a people, man, we don't own anything. We don't own any land, no acres, none of that. And everybody want to be hood rich, but nobody want to be rich. Nobody want to really do anything to attain generational wealth. So the story resides an hour away from Atlanta, Georgia, right now, and this particular um, land and lake county was once a all black community, and it resided with 1,200 black residents, and it's just crazy, man. It's crazy because um I know that I went with a whole lot of stories talking about the same situation where a white girl got accused of rape and her peoples, white people came and burned down, looted, murdered, and slain every black resident over a rape allegation. And this happened a lot back in those days. And on this day, it was two white girls who was teenagers and got pretty much beaten up, sexually assaulted in the woods, and they accused four black teenagers of doing this heinous crime. And pretty much the townspeople got together and went on a hunt to find out who did this. So they caught one of them, and he was pretty much lynched on the spot. And then caught two of them, and they was arrested, charged, found guilty, and sentenced to death by lynching. And one of them pretty much, pleaded for his life and was shot multiple times, and they was basically, assassinated on the spot. And it was a 5,000 attendance to watch these two teenage boys get lynched. So they feel like they weren't satisfied, so they went into Oscarville, you know, pretty much the Klan gathered up and went to the um, black side of town and pretty much forced a lot of black residents out their homes. And And this happens a lot. This happens too often in history that they don't discuss. And that's why it's just really important that we come together. It's really important because of the fact that we have all this money, we have all these resources, and everybody just look out for self. Everybody just want to be a doggy dog world when we so much better together. We ain't doing nothing. We ain't prospering, being divided. And it's just so sad, like when you hear these stories and stuff like that, and people just go on a tangent, go on like, I'm going to do this for me. I ain't looking out for nobody else. Nobody cares about me, so I'm going to be doing my thing. But to make a long story short, the government was involved as well. The government purchased um, 50 acres of land. And pretty much the lake, well, the town was built like around a dam and everything. So it controlled bodies of water. So they knocked whatever was controlling the water, they knocked it down. But first, they got a lot of people out of there. So a lot of people fled from that area. And some of those who stayed hidden in the woods or hidden somewhere else so they won't get killed. All over a rape, allegation. And I just can't stress this enough that this happens a whole lot. This still goes on today. And they say that in that town it was 1,200 black folks. So literally 600 people died in that massacre. And they basically haunt the lake because they pretty much, washed away that entire black community. And like recent years, there's a lot of people that drowned, a lot of people died going into that remote area because they're not wanted there. Pretty much it's like a horror movie in some sense. Like you have those things and those situations where somebody, touring or whatever, a tourist, and they go into a remote area, and then those town people tell you or tell them that, oh, that's so and so, like, we stay away from that place. That place is haunted. And then they be all in suspense or whatever, but you just never know um, what lies in our lake. And they say that it's still dead bodies in there. And going on like 10 graveyards and a barn, um, schools, businesses, and other artifacts that's in that lake, even street signs. It's at the bottom of the lake. And it's funny because everybody, you know, was so fascinated with the movie Titanic when it came out. But this is our Titanic. This is our um, tragic event. And I just explain to people how phony, how hypocritical um, America is sometimes because it's just that y'all hide so many things that y'all done. And that's still like one of the racist areas to live. Even back in the 90s, Oprah did a segment on that county, and you still had whites um, getting mad at the descendants because they wanted their land back. They petitioned the city and petitioned the state Supreme Court to give them their land back. That was never um, theirs to begin with. And that's to me, that's just feel like, Black Wall Street, Rosewood, Chicago. When I explain to people that racism is a law. Racism is a power. It was laws that was passed to make sure that these descendants didn't get their land back. And they just love to try to rewrite history. They really love to try to make you feel bad for claiming what's rightfully yours and put you through hoops and put you through a whole lot of nonsense that you won't be able to reclaim your land. And a lot of people don't understand how land is the real bag. You know what I'm saying? And it's just a sad story, man. Men, women, and children got killed for nothing. And that's why I just tell people this all the time. It's like, you know, exception to the rules. And we got to just make sure that we do something to keep these stories passed down to our generations, because a lot of these kids and a lot of these adults nowadays, they have such entitlement, and little do they know, like, people have died in order for you to get to this point, and for all of us to get to this point, for all of us to be able to, roam around whatever we want, but there's still certain places that we can't go. There's still sundown towns. There's still um, discrimination, prejudice, racism, no matter where we go. And and I just remind myself just how privileged I am in this generation, in this era. It's still a lot of murder, lynchings going on, but I'm just grateful that God is with me, despite everybody else who's losing their life to just unfairness. And I just want everybody to understand, like, we have to just be grateful. Don't matter what happens, no matter what's going on, we just have to be grateful for the privileges that we have today. But I just think that is unfair. I think it's uncanny that a lot of these families didn't get the chance to reclaim their land. And that's the midst of everything, is that just think about what that land or that community could have been if it never got touched, if it never got tarnished or tainted. And that's the thing that we need to understand. That's why we are just scattered right now, because they never wanted us to have anything. They never wanted us to prosper. Even after doing 200 some odd years of slavery, they still wanted us to be living in hell. They still wanted to punish us. They still wanted us to be miserable and just be docile, docile. So we just have to keep in mind that these people existed and that these people became refugees in their own country and didn't get no help. So I just want everybody to do their own research. I'm kind of like, you know, limited a time right now because I got to go to bed, got to work in the morning. But I couldn't end this Black History Month of 2022 without telling this story. So I just want to thank y'all who watched, who tuned in, um, Who grateful for the story, who grateful for um, the message. Just make sure y'all be safe out here. Practice social distancing. Wash your hands. But yeah, thank y'all for tuning in, and everybody have a good night. Peace.